I've been really compiling a lot of negative information, things that that I really don't want to accept, but I have to accept because it's reality. Just really bad news. And in the process, all this stuff was getting piled on, like the weight of the world. But I'm not going to bury my head in the sand and not face it. So I was taking all this in, and also I noticed my personal life was really going downwards, and I had to make a lot of changes. You know, the adjustments that I make will hopefully build up something more stable, something stronger in the future. And as I was going through all this, I was surprised that all of a sudden it's starting to, uh, a lot of things are coming together in just the past 2 days. So I don't know. It's just weird. Could this be going on with a lot more people? So let's now get into our subject. Okay, I want to talk about connections that we can make between our present time and tracing it back into the 20th century around the time of World War II. Because I've been noticing some things that seem to be beyond coincidence. You know what I'm saying? Our discussion that has been about history.
I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, and has anyone really done this comparison? Because I always was talking about this economic collapse that is skyrocketing in popularity. Just the acceptance of the anyone that's talking about it, that it's inevitable, it's impending, it's imminent. We hear this at a feverish rate right now. And what I've been doing in previous vlogs, showing how this indeed will be encyclic and a repetition. uh, the low point that was hit around 1928, 1929, and going into the 30s, um, we are somewhere in there. So I don't think that every level or every factor lines up exactly, so we'll be within that range that today we can compare to the period between probably 29 to 30, 31, possibly 32. Actually, that might be pushing it. I don't think we're quite there to the 32, 33 mark. So that's what I'm correlating as far as parallels economically. But there are different rates of return or different rates of the cycle. See, everything's not just that 90-year cycle, 89 or 90-year cycle. And I found this out by careful study of planetary movements and a careful study of history, how it mysteriously fits into that. But I want to right now focus on a different cycle, which is the World War II till now. How many years ago was the end of World War II? Well, let's say the beginning of World War II.
Oh, the beginning?
Yeah,
that,
1941.
We're talking about 72 years ago.
72 years. Okay. What I notice that's strange correlation that at the beginning of World War II, the Japanese under Emperor, what was his name?
Hirohito?
Hirohito. Uh, they made an attack on Pearl Harbor. So somehow this happened. You know, aside from conspiracy theories of who knew about it, how exactly it happened, we know that something happened and it was used as a pretext for war. The day that will live in infamy. Now, having said that, if the Japanese came east toward Hawaii, where's Pearl Harbor, and attacked, and also wanted to continue on to get at the mainland, I think ultimately they want us to do that. And they did that psychologically, and they did that to get a declaration of war, because the people of America felt attacked. I just find it a strange correlation that the way we defeated, just a knee-jerk, no, not knee-jerk, but habitual. I say we sometimes when I talk about the United States. The United States at that time defeated the Japanese by hitting them with nuclear weapons. It was in the new technology, that came out of the Manhattan Project. So they hit them with the nuclear weapons. And it spreads radiation, death and destruction, like unimaginable. And they have to deal with it, the Japanese people. And they learn about this through experience. And you see now how Fukushima is sending even more radiation in the same direction as that attack that led to World War II. It's sending it first and foremost to Hawaii, Pearl Harbor, and it's going to send it continuing eastwards. It's already there, folks. It's already washing up on the beach with the water. It's washing up in all the seafood. You can't get it out of there. It's flowing, I should say, not washing. You can't wash in this stuff. It's flowing. It's seeping. It's spreading in the air now across the continental United States, all of North America. Where it's concentrating, actually that's another video, but I can tell you, radiation is not going to fall 100% equally. It's going to be attracted to wherever technology is, machines, energy fields. It's going to be attracted because of the electrical charge, or gravity, magnetic influences. Wherever there are more machines is where the radiation will concentrate. Someone was saying, oh, it's all going to drop on the mountaintops and snow. No, I really don't see it that way. I don't see any proof in that. I don't know the reasoning, but I do have reasoning for what I'm talking about. If you do an experiment somehow and show that radiation, radioactive particles, they're like free radicals. What do you think they want to do? They want to join up with something. They are charged particles. And the rays, alpha, beta rays, gamma rays. Gamma rays are supposed to be the worst. I guess they are. I think there's also X-rays coming out of them. But we're talking about the karma here. That's the point I really wanted to make, is that I think it's arguable that it is a valid theory that the United States, through President Truman attacking Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945, really generated a lot of karma, and that means bad karma for the United States. And if it's taken 72 years to come due, I guess it's just a continuation of World War II. And through the same means, radiation, Japan, somehow, with their collective subconscious, is now hitting the United States again with the same process, the same poison, the same weapon, same death and destruction that they were hit with. And you wonder, is it really karma? We've just come to accept that Truman had to do what he had to do. And I'll give you the main reason, really, if you want to know history. It's because he had to make a strong impression on Stalin. You see, FDR had a very tight rein on the beast that was Stalin. And unfortunately, through, I think, suspicious circumstances, Roosevelt was put out of commission, off the earth, and untimely, because you would like to see him finish up the war, that project. And yet Truman came in, Truman, the guy that Roosevelt never really admired or saw much in how he became a vice president candidate for that last term is anybody's guess, really. It doesn't make any sense. And then Truman had no power or respect from Stalin. Stalin thought of him as a idiot, basically. It wasn't until he called him up on the phone and said, "Hey, Stalin, what'd you think of Hiroshima and Nagasaki?" Stalin was just a little bit shocked and said, "Okay, what do you want me to do? You're my boss." And that led to the Rosenbergs, of course. But until Truman ordered that, he really had nothing over Stalin. But getting back to Hiroshima and Nagasaki, how necessary was it? Could they have chosen a smaller target to show the incredible, unbelievable power of this new weapon? Did they really have to pick such a large target as Hiroshima? How many thousands, hundreds of thousands? You know, and after that, 3 days later or so, they have to hit another city, which is just as large. I'm just a little bit astonished that they had to go that far, add insult to injury, cause more hundreds of thousands of deaths and injuries, and you can't even add it up. It's still, what can you do? Just clean up the mess. But now, I think we're looking at the imminent destruction of the United States and many other lands. Well, the United States is not a land, it's a corporate government entity. America, if you want to call it that, is a land. And I think we are on the doorstep of a mutant era. I don't see anybody facing it, but I'm giving you information and observations. Let me know what you think, and somehow we're going to figure this out, but it's not looking too pretty. It's looking like another war, you think?
It's heading towards something.
Who the players are going to be in this next war, how it's going to happen. I've said before, it's anybody's guess, because unless you're really on the inside, how would you know? And in that case, you would only know that side. However, is there a puppet master over the whole thing? I've heard a few theories that are pretty scary. But there seem to possibly be people that are in charge of more than just countries and companies and churches and Vaticans and banks. There seem to be some very secretive, powerful people. That's a subject for another video. Thanks.